Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the #1 internet singles talk network, and I am so glad to have you on tonight. This show is called Going Solo with Cece. I am Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building. And you ask yourself, what the heck is a Doyenne? Well, I'm a leader in my field, and I connect those that are traveling through probably some of the darkest times in their lives and show them enlightenment, help them move through to living their best life. And so we do all of this through a lot of different venues, and I'm going to share those with you really quick. You can, of course, reach me on goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And then our websites are the one right above me, which is Going Solo Media, which all our wonderful shows are on. And then all that we do with the singles today is on Going Solo Network. So you can check that out. And we hope that you'll join us there with all the different events and things that we do to help singles move forward. So let's move on to our show. We have a lot going on. We've got a wonderful topic tonight. Our topic tonight is dumping 2021. And a lot of you are saying, hallelujah. We're glad that we finally are at the end of 2021 for a much brighter 2022. And I have a wonderful guest here with us tonight. So let me bring him forward. We have JT Voisey. Hello.
Good evening. How are you, Cece?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, JT, we're going to talk about the year of decisions, right? So we're moving through 2021 and we're going through a brighter 2022. And that brings us to you, our brand new show that you're going to have in 2022. So tell us a little bit about that before we kick off our topic tonight, because I would like everyone to know that you're a host of a brand new show that we have about communication.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you. The program that I've decided to share with some thoughts and ideas is based on experience, not credentialed craft or anything like that. It's based on my experience in life as both a Marine and a deputy sheriff and just customarily dealing with people. My philosophy has been for many, many years, find a need and fill it. And that's where this fits in my realm, and that I get to speak to some of the things about communication and indirectly in relationships to with regard to single people, solo. When we go solo, such as myself, we find ourselves in this realm of talking to people we don't know, but then we are going to also look at the points and the skills and the thoughts behind even discussing with a newly divorced person or your ex or your children, and give you some ideas to think about. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you think through some of the things that have challenged me and how they've worked out for me as well. So I'm happy to present that in this format.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so excited about the show myself because I think that it's truly going to help people out there being able to not only connect with themselves, but connect to other people, understand communication, and be able to move through in a more enlightening way. And so you've got a very unique background, right? You were a Marine at one time, and then you're a retired from our Pinellas County Sheriff's Department.
Yes. You said Marine at one time. Don't tell that to your son or anybody else.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. That I know.
That correction. Yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine. Yes. I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps. 2 of those years overseas, Vietnam and Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And that experience by itself was interesting. And we'll talk about that in the program. But the other part of that is being a deputy sheriff here in our own community for several years. I was a deputy in New York. I was a police officer in South Florida. And here in Pinellas County, I had so many great things going on, from patrol operations all the way through to teaching at the college level later in my career. So I come with a lot of stuff to think about and to share.
A wealth of background and information that I know that you can share with us. So I'm really pleased to be able to have you on our Going Solo Network. So thank you so much for that. But let's get on to our topic, because I know those out there are ready and they want to hear. We're going to dump that to 2021 for a brighter 2022. So let's talk a little bit about the history of our New Year's resolutions. Do you want to share a little bit of information about that with us?
Sure. This was a brief study, a thumbnail sketch of what we tend to not look at, and that is the historicity of what is a New Year's resolution. Where did it come from? Who started it? And if you think about it, back the New Year's resolution started way back 4,000 years ago, and back when the Romans and the Greeks were, they had many gods out there, and there was a celebration during the first week of January every year. They call it Janus, which is the Greek for January. And what they did was, very interestingly enough, is they honored the two-faced god who symbolically looked back at the previous year, and they celebrated the things that of the past, and they also celebrated the things of the near future. And just like everyone else, I'm sure there are those who broke their resolutions back then, but that's a brief sketch as to what happened in that time. And since then, there have been a lot of different changes on how we look at today. It's health focused, and it's far different than when we first recognized way back 4,000 years ago what it was. It was a religious celebration, basically. And it's interesting, though, that percentages of people who start their resolutions, and this goes into with the historicity, and those who fall away. And we're going to be talking about some of those talking points and how that can be structured in a person's life.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting, some of the information that you actually found and sent over to me. And then it said 40% of the people in the United States set our resolutions, while 22% of the people in the UK aim for self-improvement. And I think that is so important. So I tend to wonder if we set our resolution based not on like wanting to lose weight or whatever, if we set it more on towards improving ourselves, maybe we would get past the 2 weeks or into February, longer than February, because I think most of them, it said research shows 80% of people break their resolutions by the first week of February, and only 8% are successful in achieving their goals at all. So, I say out with that, and let's move on with something that's positive, because we've had a lot of stuff happening, to us in 2021, right? We've had, COVID. We've had just a lot of personal development that we've gone on the internet. There's a lot of things that have taken place and that are negative, but a tremendous amount of those have also been learning experiences, enlightenment, and, really moving in a more positive direction of personal growth. So what do you think about that, JT?
The idea of looking back and being looking at it in a negative light, yes, a lot of terrible things have happened with COVID, and even in an interpersonal way, there may have been a breakup of two people or a divorce of a family member, and then the bad tides that roll through that process. And you say to yourself, well, next year's got to be better. Yes, in our way of thinking, we anticipate that we would want it to be better, but how do we do that? How do we frame it in a way that, hey, let's move towards a goal. Let's implement a plan, or write a plan and implement the plan. So these are some of the things we're talking about here tonight. So, I'm amazed because the idea of having a plan with regard to resolution, and many people, it could be quit smoking, it could be drinking, it could be quit hanging out with people that are not your kind or not kind to you, and just staying away from negative people altogether. And that could be a goal as well. So.
Right. So, and one of the bullet points that you have here, and hope I'm not getting this out of order too much, but it really is on your intention. And we're going to have a show coming up here tonight with Martha, and looking through the looking glass with Martha. And she's going to talk about our intentions, setting New Year intentions. So I don't want to steal her thunder from that. But it's also our personal motivation. So as we move forward into 2022, it's really we have to think about our personal motivation as to what we want from that next year, right? What can we take away, not only the positive, but what can we shelf, right, on the negative? And so that we can move forward in a more, a positive onset, mindset to be able to move forward. Don't you think?
Yes, I believe that's very true. And for me personally, when I would set a goal for a resolution, it would be, I would ask myself the question, the self-talk thing. Do we recall the past resolution, the one we made the year before, whether we failed or succeeded? It doesn't matter. It's just an open-ended question here. And then you ask yourself the next question, how did that work out for you? And it's not a slight, it's not a criticism. It's just asking a genuine question of yourself. Well, did it work to a certain extent, or did it not work because I gave up? And so we look at that part of it first, without having a starting point where you can't jump in the middle with a process like this, because it just doesn't work out. And it's a strategy that should be considered.
Right. Absolutely. Well, the beginning of every year, I personally, and I did a show on this last year, which was quite successful, but I personally sit down quietly and divide out basically my life, right? I divide it out into, personal, and then also spiritual, and, what I want to achieve the next coming year. And then also, career wise, and then kind of and break those segments out. And then I have a great planner that I use, which is it's like a law of attraction planner, and it has a lot of goals that are in there that help you set goals and things like that. And I use that a lot because I feel like we need those short-term goals daily, right? Daily goals. And then we also need our weekly goals, and then maybe our monthly, and then moving into 6 months, or, for the year. And then we also have to think about not only what we want in 2022, but what's on the horizon for us. Do we have any long-term things we want to achieve? And if that's so, then we have to back it up, right? Just like planning, we have to back it up and like, what do I have to do today to achieve that long-term goal? And so there's a lot of factors that come into play when we're starting to prepare ourselves for the next year. Don't you?
I agree with you wholeheartely again. And another question I ask is, what's the motivation?
Right.
Are you happy about your life, or is there certain things you want to change? I know for many people, and this is men and women, their appearance is important to them, so they would like to look different or look better to either the opposite sex, or just to feel better by looking better, or looking a different way, like losing weight or whatever that means to this person. So you discover what the motivation is after we ask those two first questions. What is my motivation? And then from there you can start to plot and plan where you want to go in what direction. And it's not always a simple process, because you can be your own worst critic and be too hard on ourselves. And that's important to understand, that I've had that happen, and I've done it before in my past. When you plan something, you want to do the best you can, because you're goal oriented, and you want to see a favorable result, or even a partial favorable result, and not be discouraged by defeat, because there's always, when you say defeat, do you mean 1 feet or 2 feet? So you have to consider that in the process, that even there, you may have fallen down on the way down through your journey, but there's always getting back up and moving forward, always.
Yeah.
I learned that in the Marine Corps, that number one, you get knocked down, you better get back up, no matter if it's a drill instructor an enemy that's fighting you. So whatever that's knocking you down, you find a workaround and you move forward with that. Get up and walk again.
Yeah, that's so right. I'll just share something with you, and I don't know if you've ever told you this, but when I decided that I wanted to meet someone, right? I wanted to start dating and I wanted to meet someone, and my weight was a concern for me, right? So then I thought, okay, then I have to. And one of my New Year's resolutions last year was to get in better shape. And it wasn't necessarily to get in better shape to start dating, right? It was to get in better shape to be healthier. And then I found myself, even though I said that's what I wanted, and mentally I was thinking, wait a minute, I do want to, if I want to attract someone in my life, I do need to start looking better, right?
Yes.
Then, and that didn't seem to work for me. It didn't seem to, it just didn't seem to go. I mean, just like all the other resolutions, that didn't seem to work for me. So then, sometime within the year, I had this shift in the mindset, right? And I thought, you know what? I am healthier. I have done those things to be able to be healthier. And I haven't really dropped the weight that I wanted to drop, right? So then I realized I had to accept myself for the way I was. And I had to shift my mindset as to my dating was I really wanted to attract a man in my life who'd like me for who I am, no matter what I look like, right? Which is the important thing. And so creating that shift, I think it definitely did happen for me. But I just want to share that with those out there that are thinking that if you don't think you can meet someone because of the way you look, it's not the way you look, but it's your mind of how you feel that you look, right? So we have to shift our minds into a positive mode, into a positive step. So whatever it is that we want to achieve, whether it's to lose weight, attract someone into our lives, start relationships, have a better career, make more money, do all of those things, we have to have a positive mindset to us. And by doing that, those things will come to us, right? So we often think we have to change in order for those things to happen. But the reality is we have to have some acceptance and some goals to work towards in a positive way to make those things come to us.
Yes. The important point you mentioned there is it wasn't just motivation of the opposite sex or a meeting someone that you want to get to know, but it's for health reasons. And one of the things I found is that people tend to get hung up on the health reasons, but don't look at objectively, well, why is it I can't lose weight? Is it because I have an issue going on inside? And that's why it takes a professional, medical professional to evaluate when you have those questions. This is my goal, doctor. You consult with the doctor. And this is what I'd like to do. So what do you need to look at to help me make changes or add or subtract in my medical arena? And that's important too, because that's a function that we need to consider.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's talk a little bit about lessons learned. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. We always think that way, don't we? We always think that, something's better going to be out there. The grass is greener, right? If I had done this, things would be better. I'd be in a different place right now. What is your philosophy on that?
I take a very practical approach to it because I've learned over time, number one, I'm male. My emotions are much different, obviously, than the female. So my look at it is if I have attempted in my dating relationships or whatever, I consider all the things that I need to consider for me, how I approach it, how I act as a normal man would or should, and how this person is. So what are the mistakes I make? What are the things I stumble on? What are the things I do that wouldn't be acceptable to someone else? For example, if I was a smoker, that's a deal breaker for some people. If I was a drinker or a heavy drinker, that would be a deal breaker for some people. If I was someone who walked around in public and cursed at everything that bothered me, that would be a concern. The thing that we want to portray to other people is the honesty, the integrity of a genuine person that wants to really search for a heart and mind that's compatible with themselves. And it's hard to do. It's very difficult to do. No, we're not going to find the perfect match in compatibility. That's not going to happen. That's not a realistic view.
What?
And I know people. I know people. People think about well, there's got to be that perfect person. And what I'm talking about is a knight in shining armor attitude or thought, and that is not going to happen. Now, once you become compatible, or you find you're compatible with somebody, and that person, and I like this about individuals. They talk about, well, you're so smart, or you're this and you're that. Those are compliments that I accept openly, but I am not one to receive compliments, and that's fine. I enjoy that, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, in my own way, is there a time and place where I said, I could have done that better, and I should have said that? I'm the kind of person that somebody will say something to me. Sometimes it takes me 24 hours to ponder. The word I use is ponder what the person has said and how I should think about responding. So I don't want to disconnect with anybody in my life, but it takes me a while to think things through in conversations. And once I do, I think I have the legitimate purpose, a good purpose, in responding in a kind way, an understanding way, and not getting in front of myself or getting to the point where I think I'm too good for anybody else. And that's a problem for some people as well.
That's great advice, to step back for a minute, and really think about what maybe someone had said to you or had written to you, especially if you're out there in the dating arena and you're looking to meet someone. And sometimes we take things more seriously than we should. Sometimes we don't take them as serious as we should. So maybe thinking about it a little bit more, like you said, is, really a good idea. A very good idea. JT, time has gone by so quickly. We're already on the halfway mark. So we're going to have to take a quick break. So, Paul, you're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We are the Singles Talk Network, and we're going to take a quick break. This is the Going Solo with Cece show. I have a wonderful guest on here tonight, JT Voisey. He's starting a brand new communication relationship show, which is going to be starting here soon. We hope that you'll join us to listen to that. We're talking about dumping 2021 for a brighter 2022. We're hoping to give you some tips on that and really get you thinking a little bit about what you want in 2022 and how to set your goals for that. So we'll be right back. Thanks, JT. Welcome back. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we're on the Going Solo with Cece show. I want to introduce our guest here tonight. We have JT Voisey, and he is starting a brand new show the beginning of 2022, and it's going to be regarding communications and relations, so we're really excited about that. We are also talking about dumping 2021 for a brighter 2022, and if you missed the first part of the show, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about really, embracing who you are, where you've been, and trying to move you forward into the next new year. And so let's talk a little bit more, JT, about creating a path for that. Any suggestions?
Yes, I have a few thoughts on it. Number one is keeping scores. Try when you're planning and you don't meet a goal, and that's what I'm talking about in scores here. Meeting goals, baby steps. Okay, I've lost 3 pounds over here, and not 0 over here. Those keeping scores are important, but don't take them so seriously as a drawback or a failure. When you don't meet the goal this week, you don't have to really double your effort. Just keep moving as you're working your plan. Excuse me. And the other thing is, what is it that piques your motivation to face this whole idea? And again, it's another self question. What is it that's motivating you? What is piquing your interest? And like you mentioned earlier, Cece, and that is you look at it. I think you gave a second thought to it. Well, it's more than this. It's more than one topic. It's more than one issue for me. It's much more. It's a multicolored thing for you and for all of us. I mean, there are different patterns and things that we have to look at when we're looking at our motivation to do something like a resolution and working a plan towards that resolution in life. And it could be as simple as learning better communication skills. It's not always about weight or health, but it could be, how do you talk to people? And that's where our show gets into when we talk on my program later this week, or in the month rather. And then the other thing is too much motivation. It can lead to the idea, well, there's not enough willpower, but a whole lot of motivation. It's the mental attitude is, I can get up and do this, but then you don't move to do it. And I've been there myself. You just feel, oh, I worked all day. Do I really want to get involved with this? I'm mentally exhausted. Do I really want to challenge myself to this goal over here that I said I wanted to be involved in? So things crowd us and things get in our way. So we have to it's a balancing act, and we need to understand how that balancing act works for you, for me, because it's all different. Stressors are different. If you're going through buying a house, that's a significant stressor, a life stressor. The other would be moving to a new location and around, in another state. That's a stressor. Even having children are over for a week or whatever. Here come the grandkids. That's a stressor. So we need to look at all of that and just think through what the expectations are for ourselves and meeting those goals, and how high are those expectations, so we don't crumble ourselves in the whole gauntlet of the resolution itself.
Yeah, that's great advice. What also comes to mind is the transformation that we make, as coming from a relationship loss through to being single, that transformation and that shift that happens within our lives. And so often we're thinking about the past and some of the negativeness with regards to that. We're surrounded really about that emotionally. But if we can move forward, if we can put ourselves and step ourselves into the new year, into whatever situation we may have. So if it's a relationship loss, moving and into that transition of being single and starting a new life, a life of our choice. If it's starting and embracing a new career, How can we embark on education to be able to fulfill ourselves, to be able to move forward into that particular field that we might have an interest in, or just exploring the possibilities of all these other avenues that are available to us. But what happens with that is it creates this shift in our mindset into a positive and a place to go versus into this negativeness that we have in the past. Of 2021 was such a horrible year for so many. Might as well make it like 2022 is going to be, maybe not the best year, because we don't want to set our expectations too high. But what can we do to shift our mindset to be able to start creating a world around us that we want? Of peace and harmony, and embracing others into our lives, setting a career path for ourselves that is something that of joy and what we want, creating laughter. That was one thing that I noticed on your list was consider a partner and have fun built into the mix of desired change. And I thought, woo, that is a mouthful in itself right there.
Mhm.
Think about having those people in your life that's going to fill you, right? Fill your bucket with positive, with fun, with who you want to be. And so yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to in 2022.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And one of those things that I mentioned in the bullet points, and it dovetails into what you just said about considering a partner and have fun built into the process. And that is we have to understand that, and this is not a quote, this is something I thought about putting the bullet points together. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't box with gravity. And I lose every time. What do I mean by that?
Mhm.
The heavy weight of the stressors around us, if we don't have someone to come alongside, we can look for a partner, we can look for a friend, we can look for someone. It doesn't have to be a male or the opposite sex that you just met. Now, granted, there are people who are very tied into motivation to, run 27 miles in one day or whatever they do, a marathoner, which is great, good for them. I did that when I was younger. I don't do it anymore. I have other goals and objectives in my life. However, we need a person alongside of us. We could always use that motivation, especially if you're compatible. And let's face it, I know you probably have friends that that you're compatible with, male and female friends, that you could probably do almost anything with. I mean, if they had the same motivation and goals. But the whole idea here is that understand that the gravity I'm talking about are the things that weigh us down mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, I read this statement on dating websites. I don't want anybody with drama in their life. I'm sorry, I have to burst your bubble. We all have drama. It could be the smallest thing in life that's a drama. It might be a child that's wanting more money for college, and that could create drama. To the worst of things, topics I could bring up that I won't hear. But the idea here is that you don't want something to bring you down and be toxic to your goals here as a resolution. If that's your primary goal, to be a better person for yourself and others and to be a healthy person, you don't want the toxic in your life. You don't want the excessive drama. Someone who's always coming on the phone saying, well, I got to do this. And you just can't help them with their problem. I mean, I've had people in my past who have knocked on my door and have asked me a legitimate question, and I gave them a kind response. That's out of my ballpark. I can't deal with that because I don't have the expertise or the training to do that. And, they stopped seeing me as a friend. Well, so be it. I just can't bring myself. I can always refer somebody. But in this case, sometimes you lose people on the way because you can't do or make up. And that's the kind of gravity I'm talking about. You can't make up for their expectations of you. So,
yeah, I totally get that. I totally understand what you're saying. On On that note, too, though, to think about it, you do want to surround yourself with individuals that are like-minded, that kind of get you and understand what you're going through, so that you can use them as a sounding board and they can use you. That's what friends are for, right? That's friendship. And so I have many friends in my life, both male and female, that I know I can pick up phone and say, blah, 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 happened to me, whatever. And they know that really what I want is just for them to hear me, right? I want them to see me and hear me. And then when that's over with, then they can give me some words of advice. Usually, I always take it. I try my best to take it and maybe not follow it as best I should, but I do take it. But I just think that we need to surround ourselves with uplifting people that are there for us as we are equally there for them. And often I've said many times that in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And so as we're moving forward in our lives, you need to ask yourself, are you a friend? Are you there for those that may need a sounding board? And even if you don't know the answer to the problem, you can't make the solution, but just to listen to it and maybe offer, well, maybe you want to speak to a coach, or you want to speak to this, or you want to speak to that, to maybe get those answers for you that you need to go through, because we all need that in our lives. And I think as we approach 2022, we do want that, right? We want to surround ourselves with good, positive individuals in our lives, but you don't want to be sucked into the gravity, right? You don't want to be sucked into the toxic. And so when we're approaching that, or individuals that are like that, the bells will start ringing, and we do have to step back, because you have to protect yourself as you move forward in your life. Because if not, you're going to get stuck, right? You'll be in this stuck zone you won't be able to move out of. So you want to be able to move forward in your life. And so I think that is really great advice. So what about the goal orientated and putting together an action plan? About
That
that
is,
attaboy prize.
yes, the attaboy, that's the self appreciation for a job well done.
Is that you patting yourself on the back?
And that's a healthy way to
Come pat me on the back.
Yeah. And that's a part of it. That's a part of being healthy mentally, and to understand where we are in our place. I mean, when we do something that has an accomplishment to it, some of us like to hear feedback from that, and some of us don't. They'll listen to it and whatever. But what I'm talking about here is goal oriented people will tend to have that action plan first. But that's a very definite thing to think about. And you say, well, I don't know how to put an action plan together. It's as simple as writing down 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an action plan. Okay, what's the first thing that comes to mind for doing this topic or doing that? What's the second, the third, the fourth? And it's a process of building upon one layer upon another, like building a house as on the dressman's table, as to how you're going to build that house and build it to your satisfaction as you complete goals and meet the objective. And that is the important part. So I feel that that's probably as important as anything else, including getting a partner to join you if you can, to help in the lighten the load, as it were. You work out together, or you think together, or you read a book. Go to if you have a person who likes to read, share books and then banter back and forth what that means to you. I enjoy poetry. I enjoy writing poetry, and I love writing poetry for other people of things I see in their lives, and I get a real big kick out of that. The appreciation's there, that's fine, but I enjoy it. I like the creativity of it. So that's one of the things I do. I mean, those are my goals. My goal this year. We have goals here. I'll throw it out here.
Yeah, let's hear your goals. What are your goals?
My goal is to be more intuitive to a relationship. And how can you be more intuitive? Well, if I say something askew, just offhanded sometimes, I'll go back and apologize. But I want to be more sensitive to the moment. And that's my goal. And I can do that consciously. I know how to do it. I know it's the right thing to do, and how it completes in a relationship, how it completes. You know, you don't have to say you don't have to apologize every day for everything. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying,
Oh, wait a minute.
there are many people that would maybe have to do that, right? But
I'm kidding.
yeah, I know that. But the thing is, here, when we're talking about just little things that it might cause a hiccup in communication. But you brought an interesting point out in the relationship part of it, and that's what the show that we have here on this platform, Koinoneo Relationships in our lives, in the solo life, in what we intend to do. There's a cognate. You know, a cognate is a word that's very similar to the word that you're talking about. Koinoneo is that Greek word from the 3rd century that they talk about. That's the Greek language, Koine Greek. Well, there's a cognate for that word. It's koinonos. Koinonos, guess what it is? It's sharing. That's what it is. It's being together. It's doing things together. This is the perfect match for a person who's individually minded but wants to branch out and be with another person. And that is what I'm referring to here in these goals and objectives and these talking points here, because that's going to be a part of it. A part of it is going to be communication with this person that you want to join with you in doing whatever it is your goal is. So.
That's great. You know, so often, you know, we say we want that, right? We want to be able to have that communication, but then we get lost in how to go about doing that, you know, and how to be intuitive about it, you know, being in the moment, being able to communicate in the moment. So I think we're going to learn a lot from your show. I truly do. And I know it'll help myself. I know it'll help many out there. And so I'm really looking forward to it. One thing I wanted to touch on that you had said too about creating your goals, it's simple as 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason you want to write down your goals, no matter how small they are, is because they manifest when you write them down, right? It's like you're sealing it. It's like you're like in the olden times when they used to write a letter and they would have some seal and they would put the seal on it, right? A closure for that. And it's the same thing with writing down your particular goals. So no matter whatever your goal might very well be, that you should write it down. A friend of mine told me one time to take your goals, like what you want to achieve for that year. I'll just share this with you guys. And that what you want to achieve that year, right? Write it down and fold it up. And I think there's certain ways that you have to fold it. Like you're supposed to fold it towards you and then twist it and then fold it again and twist it or whatever. And then put it in your drawer and then shut the drawer. And then it will manifest. Those things will happen because that from your mind to your paper, it's there, it's manifesting. And so as you move forward in the new year, those things will happen. So I don't know if it'll happen for you guys out there or not, but what the heck, let's try it. You know, we're always willing to do something different, shake it up a bit. And, you know, that's kind of like what it's all about. We try to do those things. So listen, we're going to have to close out the show, but it was really fun having you on. Thank you, JT.
It was great being here.
Yeah, it is really nice having you. You guys, we're talking about dumping 2021 for a brighter 2022, the year of decisions. And so what we mean by that is that decisions that only you can make for yourself, right? Whether they be, personal or career minded or just spiritual, you know, those decisions that you want to make personally for yourself to be able to move forward in your life. And so we hope that you'll be able to do that. JT, are there any last words you'd like to share with our audience tonight?
I just challenge everyone that's listening or will listen in the future in an archived broadcast that try it out. Try a good faith effort and in doing a resolution, come out with a resolution. And again, ask yourself, what is it I need of myself to make myself better, more attractive to other people, more endearing, and in a very genuine way. It has to be, it cannot be I should not be a place where it's going to be a platform for showing, you up front. It's not always about you. It's about what you want to do and what people will see within you, and not just a projection of what you want people to see.
Oh, that's excellent. Very good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the time that you've spent with us tonight. And I hope that everyone will take your advice and listen to the show again. Go back and rewind this and listen to the rebroadcast, because there's a lot of great information on there that you can't always catch it the first time. Sometimes you have to listen to it again. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited about your show. Your show again. Well, let's put the information up. It's on our Going Bold Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be on, I think, this coming up like January. I want to say January 5th. For some reason that sticks out.
January 5th.
Yeah, so we'll be on then at 4 p.m. Eastern time zone. And if you miss it, it'll be right there for the rebroadcast so you can listen to it. But we hope you'll join us live, make comments, because we would love to have you with us here on the platform.
Have a great New Year, Happy New Year, and be safe.
Yes, absolutely. All right, everyone, we're going to have to close out the show. I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Going Solo with Cece. I am Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building. I'm a divorce, dating, and a life coach. If you need to ever talk to me, please reach out at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Check out our sites. We're all about connection. We're all about connecting those that maybe need some help or with that transition into your new life, or just really adjustment in the life that you have. I hope that you'll enjoy the show tonight, talking about 2022. Let's make it a year that you're going to remember in a very positive and enlightenment way. We hope that happens for you. I will see you back here at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday nights, same platform on Going Solo Network. We hope that you guys enjoy this very much. This is WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. You're listening to goingSoloMedia.com. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.